This is,
I'm Tuffy.
and we're pretty excited because we're releasing on Monday the 7th our first single to ever that we've recorded. And we thought we'd have a bit of a chat, let people know who we are, a bit of our background, and to help us do that, we want to introduce David. Hey Dave, how are you?
G'day, I'm good, thanks Nick.
That mowing hairstyle's familiar.
It's, when you can't grow any on your head, you got to be something that you got to have something that you're proud of. So
this is another Tuffy.
I taught him that.
Yeah.
I said, what you got to do, mate? Get it away from your head and get it somewhere else. So change the focus.
Yeah.
And it works.
Unfortunately, it's not by choice having a bald head, but trying to make it work. So
No,
but I'm
my fault.
I'm Tuffy's son, obviously, and I grew up around music my whole life. Never played myself, but definitely know how much of a legend Nick is, and obviously Dad as well through the all through the 90s and early 2000s and now. And you both got a new lease on life, it looks, and you're together playing music. But first of all, I just want to get a little bit of a background on you, both of you guys, and how you guys got together and doing what you're doing now. So we'll start with you, Nick.
Yeah, well, I sort of came out of school playing in bands. I really got into it during my school time. I had a great music teacher and English teacher at high school. And our music teacher, Mary McDonald, she actually booked our first recording studio when we were at school, So got through school. I tried a couple of other jobs for about 6 months to a year and ended up by then being in a band that got onto the circuit, we called it here in Queensland. And we'd be playing like from Cairns to, Coolangatta, occasionally Sydney, Melbourne, but or every town in between on those. And you play 7 nights a week, and you really learnt your craft, what you're doing then. And that's all I ever knew was I wanted to play music. That's all it was about. I only thought about that and nothing else. And then, I've got a mate here that's going to come and join us in a while, Dave Harden. Dave was in one of our first bands back then called Waves. And then later with a band called The Corporation, which had Nik Phillips and The Corporation, which we worked in. And so we're doing all that stuff. I got some records out through Festival back in the late 80s, and they charted up here and started doing quite well. But that deal never really progressed properly, and it was at that point I started doing a bit more solo work around town. And I'd been a regular on a Channel 7 show, a Saturday morning music show called Saturday Jukebox. And Jamie Dunn was the producer. He did aggro, but he was a producer of the show.
Yeah.
And Jamie managed me for a while there for music when we're doing the record stuff. And I would appear regularly on Channel 7. So a lot of people got to know me quite quickly around Queensland. And we'd always have, on the show, you'd have like noise works of the Angels, that would come up through the show. And I'd often get the gig to support them. So we're doing these type of things. So a lot of people got to know me. And then I started doing some solo work when the band stuff really finished for a bit. And I did a lot of stuff in the late 80s, early 90s. That was when I first started hearing about this guy's name, Tuffy, coming up around the place. And I don't think I actually met Tuff, but I went to Los Angeles in 92 and did my first album over there between 92 and 94.
Yep.
And when I came back, we released that album called Poetry and Beer, and I started playing back solo around the place. And I was I'd been building up rooms like City Rowers, Her Majesty's, all these places, doing solo work. And when I came back, Tuff had taken over the scene in Brisbane and sort of had built up all these amazing rooms around the place. And we both got booked at a place called Fridays Mooloolaba. And Tuff was already playing there every Friday night, and I played there every Saturday night. And we did that for about 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
And we got to know each other through that time then. Since after that, I've had 8 albums out. Well, I've done the solo work. I actually went across to China for about 10 years, going back and forwards to China, where I had a song go number 3 over there in the charts, and had another song that we wrote on the back of the Sichuan earthquake that helped raise a lot of money for the Chinese Red Cross, and just had an amazing time doing that.
Your color red was gathered from the rising sun. No one doesn't love your affection.
That ran its course, and I came back and I was putting a show on here called the Sunshine State of Mind Show, which I started to tour everywhere when COVID hit, and that we had like a couple of years of just absolute BS going on through that time. And coming out of that, I thought, well, what's next? What's something we should do? None of the pubs have the vibe they used to have back in the days when we were doing it. there just wasn't that same atmosphere in the place. So I thought it'd be great to bring a bit of that back. And so, hey, Tuff, what are you doing? You want to have a go at doing the show with me, putting our minds together, and putting two old dinosaurs together, and before we all pass away, you know, see if we can what we can do. So we started doing these shows. And it's been going great guns. It's like it's just got bigger and bigger, and we're enjoying it all. And we thought, well, what else can we do to help with all this stuff? And we thought, well, let's put a single out. We're going to put a few singles out, but we've got 2 that we've recorded in this great studio here, Record Works. And when we thought, well, instead of doing original songs first, let's tap into what we've always done, which is take some classic songs and reshape them, remold them into our versions of them. And that's what we've done, and we'll tell you a bit more about that. But that's kind of my story, and I'll toss it over to Tuff to fill your part, mate.
Yes, well, Dave, as you know, you were only a little kid at the time. We arrived in Brisbane 1988, right on Expo, actually. That was a big time, wasn't it, Nick?
Huge time.
Oh, fantastic. And I originally had a gig up in Cairns for 6 weeks, and that was it. So we packed the whole, sold up everything down.
So we went all the way from Melbourne to Cairns, that was your trip?
Yep. Go to Cairns. Just someone saw us at the gig and said, oh, my husband runs a bar up in Cairns. I go, that'll do. So we just sold up everything, not because of that, just wanted to get in the road anyway, while the kids were little. And went up, did that. And, oh, it was a funny story. I brought up my guitar teacher, who a really good cadet. I said, you want to come up too? So he flew up. We did our first gig. What was the name of the place? I can't remember now, but they had more nightclubby than a pub. We did our first gig, and the manager comes out and said, "No, you're no good for us. We want the bands. Everyone's playing all the sequencing and all that type of stuff, and trying to sound exactly. So we want them to sound exactly the same." I go, "Oh, I said, look, mate, give us till Friday, and if we're no good by Friday." So anyway, Friday comes on when anyone's coming. The place went off, so we ended up finishing our contract. Yeah. And then got picked up through Greg Shaw. Yep. Got picked up for doing a residency with the Maguires. So first gig was the Paddo. Yeah. And then the Combsley. Mainly those 2. And then from there, it sort of all just started. We ended up going to City Rowers and then the Trans.
Mate, you became so well known for building up those rooms really big, like, taking them on, building them up. And like fish shows down the coast, that was like, you got pictures on the internet of you at fish shows, mate, where it's like a major concert event.
Yeah, well, that was the very last gig before it became Versace's. Yep. Yeah, so I did that for about 8 years. And that was great. Like, my wife, Letty, would come down with the kids and drop me off. Go to the works and see, go catch you, and then they come back, pick us up in the transporter, and head off. That was just the way it was back in those days. And it just, well, what else have we got? So much happened.
Can you tell us about your young protege that you had there that some people might know?
Yeah, it was a young fella.
He's a bit of a hack, wasn't he? Back,
did you teach him everything he knows?
It's sort of a fair bit, but a young fella was used to play in Rusty Nair's Rockettes, and he was doing an album down in Victoria, and Greg Shaw, who gave him a start here, asked if he could play with me on the weekends to make some money. So he's got a bit of money coming in while he's recording. I said, okay. I said, who was it? He goes, oh, his name's Keith Urban. Oh, okay. Yeah. And this little scrawny little guy comes in, bleached blonde hair and all that. And I saw him once with Rusty Nair's Rockettes, and I thought, gee, this guy can play. And then we played together about a year and a half, and I waved him goodbye as he headed off to America for his new chapter in life.
That was the last duo you did. You've really dropped down to the gutter now, mate, with working with me from that stage there, I've got to say.
Well, you have. What about me? I'm the one I've taken Keith's role. So I put the real pressure on myself.
Just on Keith Urban, I remember as a kid, he used to come around and Mum used to cook him dinner before the boys would, so Keith and Dave would take off for the gig. I thought Keith was the coolest looking bloke then, but he had this bleach blonde mullet, spiky hair, long at the back. You look back at photo going, Jesus Christ, he looks like an absolute dork. As a kid, I thought, because he was a younger bloke, he was probably only about 20 at the time, wasn't he?
He's been
21, 22, and I thought, oh, this guy's a cool bloke.
But then your last performance together was on the Entertainment Centre stage in Brisbane, mate. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Almost 20 years ago, it's hard to believe, I used to play with this guy in Brisbane. We used to play at City Rowers and Norman B Hotel. And, we played at a lot of other places. And damned if he is still playing the Norman B every Friday night. I couldn't pass up Brisbane without having him come out and do a song with us. Please make him welcome local legend Tuffy.
Hadn't heard from Keith for a while. I used to bring him back with Greg and put him in. We used to have him at Fridays downstairs there. Rowers, put him in at Rowers, Dicey Riley's, and that with these a three-piece.
Yep.
And and that went really well. Saw a bit. Then all of a sudden, he's got big. Hadn't seen him.
But that's what people don't realise too. Back in those days, the late 80s, early 90s, all through then, everyone was playing so much. There were so many venues. So that was a breeding ground for people like Keith to come through, or the Powderfinger Boys, or everything else. They had this thing. Everyone was playing so much.
Brisbane was really a golden. It was like the golden goose for young musos.
When you look at the young players now, great young players out there, but they just don't get to play as much, and they don't get to play in all these venues that you played in. And we had to learn how to control a room through the music, how to build that vibe, how to make sure people were having fun every night. And that's what we're finding with the shows we're doing now.
Yeah.
People are coming back out and having a ball, reliving those memories, and also showing their adult kids what a session's like.
Tell us a little bit. I know, obviously, from my youth, watching you at the Normanby Hotel every Sunday with my mates, I know what to expect from your show, and I still do now. I still watch you. I've seen you play plenty of gigs at the Footy Club recently, and I know you're still going strong. Nick, I haven't seen you quite as much. Could you tell us, do you guys rehearse, or did you were you winging it? What do we expect from Nik Phillips and Tuffy show?
We had two rehearsals.
I said, this one? You go, okay. Yeah. Pretty much the same with Keith.
Do you know that one? No, I don't know, but I do percussion.
Do you wing it a little bit?
We totally wing it. We've got the show. The show's down pretty good now to a point where we're really confident.
We started to know what each other's our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. And our type of gig, it's about, where do the audience want to go?
Yeah.
Where they want to take. We got so many songs between us we can pull out of the hat. And if it's Tuff's doing one that I don't strictly know the chords on, I'll find something else to do. I'll know it well enough to join in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we had a little bit different styles. Tuff was always good at getting the audience's faces, like being kind of really, come on, dragging people into it. Yeah. Mine was always a bit more led by the songs a little bit, and I'd sort of have a bit more a chilled out vibe, I guess, than the way Tuff would do it.
I used to like the way you used to put it. It was Friday nights. It was the party and all the singles come out. Saturday used to call it boyfriend girlfriend night, didn't they? Yeah. And it was the cruisier. So it gave them, instead of having two Tuffies or two Nicks. Yeah. We gave it two totally different styles. We complemented each
other, but we're different enough to be different. And that's what's working now. Is we got, even with the recording we've done, you just tell our voices blend so well together, the styles blend so well, but we're still different. It's got that thing there that works.
There's a couple of bits of those songs, I don't know who's singing what. Yeah. I've got to wait till it goes a little bit further. I go, it's uncanny.
Just on the recording you just mentioned there, Nick, you've got this awesome studio, Jason's studio, that we've got here in Coorparoo.
It's called The Record Works.
Yeah, The Record Works.
Jason's had this, and
it works.
30 years now, Jace?
27.
27 years.
Yeah.
And I've done most of my albums and recordings over my career with Jace.
Yeah.
And in his studio, and it's evolved over the years. So when it came to actually recording the songs, I thought, well, it works so well with Jace, I've got to do that. But also, I just know the atmosphere in here is ideal for what we want to do. Which reminds me, so also on the album we had, on the records, we've got Nathan Ward and Sol Freeman playing guitar and,
Yeah.
and bass.
You got
and
Dave here as well.
Yeah, and they played in bands like what's the bands they played
Angry
with?
Anderson,
Angry,
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah, we got
And-
Angry Anderson and
Mark
the
Gable.
Choir Boys.
Choir
Yeah,
Boys.
yeah. So they've done a lot of that stuff and played around for years. And we had a bloke that I hadn't seen for years and years. We caught up just after COVID or during COVID or something when it was online. And I might bring him over for a sec if that's all right, Dave.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
place
yeah,
and say,
yeah.
Dave
Come in,
Harden,
Dave.
come over here, Dave. Dave plays drums on the tracks.
Nick.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Tuffy, how are you, mate?
Good, Dave.
Dave's come up. Mate, so we would have worked together mid-80s?
Oh, I was 21, I think,
Yeah.
22, mid-80s, early 80s.
Early 80s sometime, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have the long hair?
I did it. We did have the long hair. I did.
We had a band called Waves then, and then
Waves.
that's all ran its course. And then I got the record deal, and I was doing Nik Phillips with the corporation, and needed a new drummer. I said, "Oh, gotta get Dave," and Dave came into it. We had a hoot.
Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, had a lot of
It was a
fun.
really good blues rock band.
Mm.
But mate, since then, what did you go on to do mainly with playing?
Well,
wise?
so much like you, I did the Hut Show circuit, which
Yeah.
everyone knows what it is. I mean, most musos our age that were
On the circuit.
were doing it were on the circuit, as you
They've
say.
been hutchoed.
Yeah. But you know, as Nick said, you learnt your craft. You were
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
6 nights a
Kept
week.
us all working
Yeah.
employed. It was
And a lot of those guys, yeah, we're employed. You know, a lot of those guys did go on to bigger and better things. And you know, then I went to Great Keppel Island. I was there for about a year and had to get off it. Nearly killed me. It
Yes.
was way too much
partying.
partying. Then went down to Sydney, probably the first band I got into down there was a band called the Sparklers, which is an offshoot of the Sunny Boys with
Yeah.
Peter Oxley and Melody Oxley, their sister,
Yeah.
and Colin Bloxham was a guitarist. That was a good band, but you know, last we went down to Melbourne, supported the Proclaimers for 2 nights. They said we were going to come back and record the album. We did the entertainment centre with Big Pig Ice House in 1927. A week later, the band broke up.
Oh.
So, and I was just basically playing with everyone, you
Yeah.
know, function bands, you know,
Yeah.
blues guys. One of the guys there, Don Hopkins, one of the best bluesy type New Orleans
Yeah.
white guy I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But yeah, so same thing. And then family came along.
Yep.
Moved back here, had a couple of kids, and just basically playing around. And then
Yeah.
lucky enough to run into you again.
No, mate. No. So mainly Tuff and I are doing duo shows, but we're looking forward to doing some band gigs up soon and getting Dave on stage with us and getting back in the studio again too. And having
Yeah,
a ball with
yeah,
it, so.
and you're right, mate. Your 2 vocals blended. I think I said that to you when I rang you up after I heard the blend between your vocals is quite amazing.
Yeah, it freaked me
What
out.
we're going to do at the end of this chat, we'll be playing the video clip and the first single, so we'll get to that in a bit. But if you want to get to meet Dave properly in real life, over the next couple of weeks, keep watching our little socials because we're going to run a competition. We've got a second single we've recorded and we're going to release probably in a couple of months' time. But we're going to film that film clip out on a beautiful classic 70-foot timber boat out in Moreton Bay, Mahokee, and Mohokee. So I wrote a song about this boat. It's a beautiful boat. And we're going to be playing. We're going to get 12 people to come along and be part of that and run a competition for those 12 people to come along. So, yeah,
It'll be a hoot.
it'll be a hoot.
Okay, looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Good luck, boys.
Thank you.
Good on you, mate.
Can't wait for the gigs.
Dave did a great job on the
Come on,
on the record. Fantastic.
Boys, so the song "I'll Be Gone," it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about how you wrote the song? Who wrote it?
We didn't write it. It's remake.
Oh, sorry.
I'll
Yes,
get Tuff to tell a story about it. I called Tuff and I said, mate, which songs do you reckon we should do? And we need a list of songs. I think this is the first one you came up with.
Yeah, it was. I was just it was just a great classic that I loved when I was a kid.
Yeah. By
And
a
then
band called
it's-
Spectrum.
It bands Mike Rudd and Spectrum, and it was a sort of bunch of. But there used to be a lot of festivals and concerts. So those Spectrum were always one of the best bands there.
Yeah.
Either
Did you see
highlighting-
him live?
Oh yeah, fantastic band. Song I've always loved.
Yeah.
And I thought it tells our story pretty well. It's just about to say, one day I'll have money. Money's the by the time it comes, I'll be gone. It's so prophetic that we thought that we'd give it a go, and it just turned out so good.
Yeah.
We've-
You came up with Tuff came up with this little different vibe for the rhythm track on it, and that kicked it along just a bit more. And then the boys set in so well for the band and got the harmonies working right. And we're just really excited when we heard it, and we can't wait to show it to you shortly.
Yeah.
Just on your gigs as well, guys. What sort of feedback have you had so far, and what sort of crowds have you had there? Is it a bunch of people reliving their youth from when they were partying you guys back in the day? Or?
Exactly. They've come back and they're young again. Because until they go to the toilet and they go and look and wash your hands, and I'm not young. But until then, they've gone back to being, and they act exactly the same, singing along, dancing, having a ball. And I think because of COVID and everything, and just the way the whole music scene's gone, and the way it's the pubs these days are so corporate, and they're worried about their pokies and that, and so all that rubbish. I think they've just been entertainment starved. So they're going off more than I've expected. I thought they'd be just sitting there and going, here's Nik and Tuff. They're going off, and it's fantastic. It's just the smiles, and just to relive those great days, you know. They're reliving the best days of their lives.
After the gig, we're finishing, and we just get people coming up constantly telling us about the stories of how they met their wife back then, or how this happened back then, or that happened back then. They associate so much to our music, and then you get other places who, like most of our audience was Southeast Queensland. Most people, you go other places where people don't really know us, but it doesn't take them long, because we've got so many songs and we know how to work a crowd like that. It doesn't take them long to know that they've experienced this at their local pubs when they were growing up. It takes them back to that time. It doesn't have to be just with me and Tuff. It's that time and that experience. We give them that memory lane trip, and it's just so much fun.
What venues have you been at so far?
Well, we've done the ones that have been really, really good. The Cleveland Sands. That was fun. We walked in with our gear. We got all these people. Oh, geez, there's a lot of people in here. I hope they don't mind. They're having their meals and stuff. You go, there's a table. You go, oh, reckon we move this table? These people won't get worried about it. And then the bloke comes up and goes, they're all here to see you guys. I said, really? I'll go.
And they were. Even rained and it didn't chase
So the marketing's been pretty good for
us. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Who's in charge of the marketing?
We're kind of working out together with us, but we're working with Sol, who plays bass, and the guy and Nathan, what they're doing with their agency, and we work with that. And got another guy, Jared, up the sunny coast, who used to be a DJ at Fridays, and he's a bit of an expert in that stuff. So he's helping us.
He went back to his youth too, didn't he? He went totally back to his.
So we got all these people helping us out that know their craft, what they're doing, and we're just now keen to show these venues what we used to do, but also how that can translate to a new audience. And like most venues, when they come, venues we're working into the shows are really working well, is people coming in groups, they're buying lunch, they're drinking all afternoon, then they're having dinner. And it's sort of generational with the families, so it's kind of the right vibe for Queensland venues.
I think the other thing, Dave, too, that is, a lot of the stuff is sort of accidentally on purpose. You know, if you're going, you hope this is going to happen. But I think the timing, doing it as an afternoon, primarily on Sundays, they can still go out, even bring the kids, and they're back at home by 7. You get yourself, because the job is so much fun, you sort of don't grow up in a way. Like you grow up, you grow old, but as soon as I don't know about it, as soon as you put the guitar on, you know,
mate, when you put the guitar on, golf tournaments can happen. You started golf tournaments when you playing, haven't you?
Oh, well, yes. You mean the Normby with the pictures on the back wall?
No, New Zealand, mate.
Oh, of course, yeah, got you now. Oh, yeah, the funny things that happened.
Tell them that story.
This is, I think it was 92. It was the election that couldn't be lose. Hewson, that's the guy, yeah. The one that couldn't lose. Yeah. And I went over there to do promote a Lion Brown beer down in Wellington, around that region, and doing the Lion Nathan hotels. So while I was there, they organised everything. I've got off the plane. Next thing, there's a reporter from the local radio station. Oh, hello, Tuffy. What you going to go? What the hell are you talking to? Oh, yeah, well, I'm going fine. Next to another radio station. I've gone with Darren Clark, was looking after me back in those days. And we've gone to the radio station, and the bloke's looking at the bio. Goes, oh, look at this. Just sounds like you're the Buddy Beatles. I go, yeah, it's all crap. we just came over here to play golf. We just needed an excuse. And I'm playing a few gigs out around the Mine Nathan pubs. And he goes, you play golf? I go, yeah. Darren, you play golf too? Yeah. He said, I'm a golfer. Why don't I get a mate and we'll start, this is on the air live, we'll start a little competition while you're here. 6 weeks. Yeah, it's a big, like a big long test match, but once a week. And he goes, we'll call it the Bloody Slow Cup. Oh, God, yeah, all right, yeah, we'll go do that. Anyway, we're playing. This is our region. It's like Wellington's. It's like a little country town. And they're getting the scores from and that's an update on the Bloody Slow Cup. It was hilarious.
Did you feel any pressure?
No, it's just all fun. It's all fun.
You met the Australian cricket team.
Yeah. That was unusual. They had the election, and we had to go down to the consulate, and I was going out, and the Australian cricket team was there, and they came to one of the gigs, and then after that I ended up going to Tim May's got a bar down in Adelaide, and then started doing all their private gigs and stuff like that. Used to come back.
Warnie's wedding and that too.
Played at Warnie's wedding, yeah. So that was an exciting part. But that was back in the days prior to mobile phones. Everyone was taking photos. You can go out and have some fun.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they stopped it. They just stopped the players. No, you got to go straight. Used to be the same. Used to get all the Australian rules teams coming up playing the Lions.
Yep.
They used to always come up to back to the Trans, and you just can't do that anymore.
No.
Not allowed. No. You got to have your recovery time, and you got to be, So it's all that changed, and that's really changed the whole vibe of hotels from the '90s to now. It's just totally different.
Yeah. So basically, this is what our gigs are like, except with music. We just like to try and encourage people to be like in the lounge room with us more, and have a vibe and have some fun. So please come out, check our socials, come out and see our gigs. We've pretty much covered everything. I think people know us a bit more now, hopefully, if they do. And is there anything else, Dave, we said to
Dave now.
talk about? Or?
I don't know, you guys going to have a jam or you're not?
Oh, no, mate, you have to play a song.
I still got that hangover from last
night.
I reckon we might slip straight to the film clip.
Go to the film clip.
But we need your help, okay? So the song's available from the 7th, whenever you're watching this, 7th of November. All your Spotify's, your Apples, all the major platforms you can get it on. Please go and stream it, play it, do what you can. Just share it around, let your friends know about it. We just want to get the word out there so that we can do more gigs, we can do more music, we can get you guys out and we can all have some fun and just, that's it.
Rewind the clock.
Just do it, just help us out. Help us, please. We've been struggling, to be honest with you. So just come out and say it, please.
So right on, lads. You're both an inspiration, and stay young, boys. Keep going. Keep doing
Big thanks to Jason for having us in.
Thanks, Jason.
For this with us, and we'll do some more videos in record work sometime soon. Dave, thanks mate for popping in. So I reckon we'll roll our song, and we really hope you like it. Yeah. We do.
Someday I'll have money. Money isn't easy to come by. By the time it comes back, I'll be gone. I'll sing my song and I'll be gone. Someday I'll have loving. Loving isn't easy to come by. By the time it comes by, I'll be gone. And I'll sing my song and I'll be gone. Living a life of luxury doesn't seem by. By the time it comes by, I'll be gone. I'll sing my song and I'll be gone. Living a life of luxury doesn't seem to be for me. For me, moving around comes naturally. Move around and feel free. That's for me. Someday I'll have money. Money isn't easy to come by. Loving isn't easy to come by. Neither of them easy to come by.